Hello YouTube, welcome to episode 2 of Dwarf Fortress. This is our fort here, Nobleboulder, and if you were here for last episode, you saw we got some initial stuff set up, we got some farms going, we got some workshops going. Since the last episode, I have made a couple small adjustments to some settings here. I just wanted to let you know I changed the graphics pack for the text to Curse Square 16 by 16. So that's going to make this text over here on the menu a little bit easier to read, both for you and also for me. I was actually having a really hard time reading the text because it was so freaking small. So get that out of the way. The second big change that I made was I went and turned off the weather sound effects. Honestly, they're just really loud and obnoxious, so they are gone now. And over the last day or so, I've been doing some thinking about what we're doing with the fortress here as far as layout. A couple things that I realized. One, I started doing my rock crafts stuff, and I really shouldn't be doing that yet. I'm not really ready as far as getting the rest of my stuff set up. And I'm not too happy with the layout that we've got going on, so I'm going to eventually go in there and switch that around a bit. So that's what we got going on. So first thing I'm going to do here is go and disable the stone crafting skill on our mason here. Let him focus more on the construction of all the beds and doors and doors and that kind of thing. And then we're going to go down here to the craft dwarf shop and turn off the rock crafts. So we're actually going to cancel that one. That should be fine. And then the last thing I need to do here, for some reason, sometimes the auto labor or workflow does not actually turn itself on, so I just want to make sure I got that turned on. So just checking out what we have here, we've got rock mechanisms on repeat for construction. We don't actually have anything in the carpenter's workshop right now. I'm going to add a couple tasks to this. I'm going to add construction of beds. I'm going to make sure that we always keep a couple of those on hand, and I'm going to use the workflow manager to add a limit there. So what the workflow manager does, I didn't really explain this last time, it allows you to put in upper and lower limits on items. So if I go in and put, say for example, this constraint on beds, the current range here is set for 5 to 10 beds, and I currently have 7, as you can see here. So what this will do is, if at any point my number of available beds falls below 5, it will automatically unsuspend the job to have more beds being constructed, and then it's going to continue constructing beds until I have at least 10. And at that point, it'll suspend the job. So you can use that for anything that you're going to want to keep a quantity on hand of. So for this, I'm actually going to set a custom range for that. I don't need quite that many, so I'm going to do, see, the most I ever get in a migrant wave, I think the most I've ever seen was 13, and the least I've ever seen was 3. So I'm going to set that as a range. That might not be the actual range of migrant wave sizes that can show up. That's just, in my experience, what I've seen. So we're going to set that. So we've got construct beds in there, and we're going to add another one. We're going to do bins, wooden bins. Where are those? Right down here. Wooden bins are used to hold gemstones and metal bars and that sort of thing. And looking around here, I actually do have some Gannerite, which I believe can be used for, I believe that's a gem. I might be mistaken in that. I might actually need to go look that up, but yeah. Yeah. Either way, where were we at? We were in the carpenters. Either way, I'm going to want bins. Essentially what it does is, if you don't have those, one bar will take up one space in your stockpile, whereas if you have bins available, they will you'll be able to fit several in. I believe, well, the number changes based on what item you're putting in there. So we're going to add a limit, bin of any material, 5 to 10 is fine. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to add yet another task for barrels. Barrels are used to store food and also used for food. So same thing, setting that to repeat with R, and then that's Alt W to open up workflow constraints, Shift A to add a limit, barrels, and 5 to 10 is fine for that also. Okay, so going over to the Mason's workshop, we have him constructing thrones and tables, and we could actually set that on a repeat if we want to. One thing I'm definitely going to add is doors, because doors are a thing that I tend to use a ton of. So we're going to add door of rock. 5 to 10 is fine. And we'll just leave the thrones and tables as they are now. If I do end up needing more, I'll go back and add more tasks to set those on auto repeat. Okay, so those are fine, and then I don't really need anything queued up in the Craft Dwarf workshop right now. So I'm just going to have a quick look at Dwarf Therapist and run through my dwarves and make sure that all of my labors are set according to what I want. So I have both of my miners set to have hauling off. This is our grower. We gave him a few extra things, so he's got farming. He also has butchery and tanning. Farming is one of those tasks that it's very important, but at the same time, it's not something that takes a ton of time. It's time critical, so it's like you want your farmer in there doing the planting as soon as your stuff is ready to harvest, but it's not necessarily something that he's going to be doing 24/7. So he can take a few extra side jobs. One of the things we're going to be looking for in our first migrant wave, we're going to have three new stations that we're definitely going to be assigning, even if we don't have anyone with good skill in them. We're going to be assigning someone to do brewing full-time, making alcohol, someone to make food. So they're going to take all of the raw food that we have and process it into meals. The dwarves will eat the raw food, but the meals, they stack, they take up less space. They're also, you can make higher quality meals, which makes your dwarves happier. And a happy dwarf is a good dwarf because he doesn't go off going crazy, rampaging through things. So here we have our mechanic. It's great. He's got mechanics on. He's going to be doing that full time, or pretty close to it, because we are going to want to set up a lot of traps. So I'm actually going to turn off the hauling jobs for him also. So we have our woodcutter, our mason, and our carpenter, or rather, he's our carpenter, he's our woodcutter. I'm going to make sure that we do have enough wood going on and start working on getting some stockpiles set up near the workshops so that the carpenter doesn't have to go very far to get materials. So we can commit those changes. Now let's just make sure we have some dig orders set here. So I mentioned I want to do some differences in layout. Oh, I just saw something else that I need to do. Wonderful. So one of the things that I want to do is, rather than have a level 4 stockpiles and a level 4 for workshops, I'm going to put them all in the same level, and kind of intersperse the stockpiles with the workshops and try to arrange them in such a way that dwarves really don't have a whole lot of distance to go to get those. But I'm going to put it on a level where I can grow food without having to muddy up the floor. You can flow water over a floor to create mud, but I think that's a little bit more hassle than is necessary, considering we do have good dirt here that we can do our farming in. And then I want to put our eventual spot that we're going to have our bedrooms in. I want to have that pretty far away from the rest of everything that we're actively doing. If dwarves are interrupted by noise when they're sleeping, they get grumpy, and once again, no one likes grumpy dwarves. So they need to be far away from anywhere where there's going to be any continual digging, and anywhere where there's going to be chopping of trees, engraving of stone, that kind of thing. So I want to put them somewhere around level 10 or so, or rather 10 levels below the surface. That way they're far enough away from the trees. And then if I put the workshops just one level below here, that will give plenty of space. I might actually go down to like 12 or 13, just because we have this water here, and that's going to inhibit our ability to really dig out and expand this area. And I was also thinking about putting in a well, which we are going to need for the hospital. So I can put that up here on this level. Just dig a path, a channel out from the river here out to a place where we can get access to it without having to venture outside the fort. So we've got a lot of stuff to do. We'll see how much we can get done in this episode. I've already got 10 minutes down just in talking here. Tends to go that way sometimes, but yeah, we'll see what we can get done. I just need to have a look here at these. Let's see, we have a trade depot that does need masonry. 1 second. Sorry about that. My allergies, woo, they're killing me. I do have a mason, so that shouldn't be an issue. Farmer's workshop, waiting for construction. Need any workshop farming. I want to have a real quick look at my farmer here. Make sure that he does have, let's see, farming, soaping, wood burning, plant processing. I think is, yeah, plant processing is one of the farming rules. So we're just going to turn that on just so we can get that thing built. Yeah. Okay. So as far as dig orders, what do we have? Okay, we have our guys are kind of finishing out our starting out areas here. So just looking at the levels here, you see this little number up on the far side. The red number is where you are currently located. And as you go down, you'll see the number increase just based on the level that your Z level or your vertical level. So our top is at 7, so that means that we're going to put our workshops. Let's see, is this still? This is still dirt here, isn't it? Yeah, this is clay actually. So we're going to put our workshops at level 10. So that means I'm going to want to put my my housing somewhere around Z level 20. So what I'm going to do then is go ahead and designate some up-down stairs to be dug. So we are going to go like so. We're going to go all the way down to level 20, like so, and then it's like before, I'm removing the dig designation on the center square just to keep a solid pillar there. Okay, so our guys have at least some stuff to start with there, and we will we'll just let them go. So while they're going about doing their stuff, I'm going to go in here and start working on at least marking out where we're going to do this this well. So I'm going to put the access to it on the top level here, just behind this staircase, or maybe in a room over here. So what we want to do is dig out a tunnel, and the tunnel is going to go over to the river. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to dig that last square until we are ready to let the water go. So we're going to go like this. We're going to dig this tunnel like so. Let's see, and we want it to terminate right there. So there's our tunnel that the water is going to flow down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a grate over it here. So let's just dig out a little room here, just a little 3x3 area, and then we can build the well right there. So what we're going to need to do then is we're just going to dig like so, and then before we let the water go, we're going to block this in so that the dwarves can't get in there and get themselves all drowned. And I don't think I really need to set up floodgates to be able to turn it on and off. I might. We'll see. See how I'm feeling when we get to that time. Okay, so one of the other things that I noticed that I needed to do was, what the heck is this guy doing right here? He's working on something. What's he doing? Store item in a bin. Okay. Oh, he's still moving stuff around. All right, so we need to build us some nest boxes for our chickens here. So we're going to go down to, I believe that is done at the Dwarf shop, if I'm not mistaken. So rock nest box, yeah, and we're going to want 5 of those. Okay, and actually to get that done, that means we are going to have to turn the stone crafting back on. So let's actually pick one of our guys that isn't constantly busy to do that. So right now our woodcutter isn't doing anything, so we're just going to temporarily turn on stone crafting for him and let him get to work doing that. Huh. Oh, okay. This is the for some reason I thought that this was the profession, but this is the profession here, then this is the job that they're currently doing. So he's putting an item in a bin, etc., etc. Okay. So we got some stuff going on. These guys are digging down, and part of the reason we're doing this too is kind of an exploratory measure to see what all rocks we're going to have access to. If we can find some of those flexstone, that would be great. Then we can do some metal crafting. But again, I shouldn't be making the assumption that we're going to be metal crafting. That's not the best idea. Okay, so looks like these rooms are carved out here. So we're going to very quickly build a door. Now it says needs door in red there, which means that we don't currently have a door. But I can go into planning mode by hitting Shift P, and then I can place the door. And then as soon as it is crafted, someone will come up and place it. So we'll make this bottom one here kind of a dormitory. So we're going to need to put some beds in. So let's just do, I don't know, maybe we'll do like pairs of beds. And we can do this in planning mode. Even though I already have the beds built, it's just a little easier. We'll do 2 over here, maybe some in the middle. And I just realized that this one is gonna need to remove that one because it's uneven, and that's gonna drive me nuts. Okay, that should be fine. So then once those beds get hauled up, we can see actually one of the doors brought the bed up already. We can highlight the bed. It doesn't matter which one you pick because this is just going to be a dormitory. If you have a door placed, it will restrict the room size to where the door is. Even if the door isn't actually placed yet, as long as you have the placeholder for the door, which in this case we put in there with the planning mode, that works just fine. So we're going to hit enter to assign that, and then make this a dormitory by hitting D. So that means any dwarf can come in and use the beds in here. Later on, when we build our full set downstairs, we're going to actually put in a individual rooms for all of our dwarves. But for now, this will be fine. So the other thing I want to do while I'm right here is set up our dining hall. So we're going to want to build tables. And we can just put a row here. Table planning mode. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You start to get very picky about where you put things in Dwarf Fortress after a while. Okay, so we've got 9 tables there. That should be fine. And then some chairs to go with. Okay. All right, that's great. Now we're going to go down and just check out our mason here and make sure that we have... We're just going to set up our tasks for tables and chairs. So we're also going to want to do a rock throne. It's the rock throne. And we're going to set up both of those on repeat. And Alt-W. Shift-A, table of any stone. Let's set the range on that 3 to 5. And then same thing for the rock throne. Alt-W, Shift-A, Enter Shift-R, 3 to 5. Okay, that should be fine. And then as soon as one of these tables gets built, which actually it looks like... Oh. Waiting for furniture. Okay, we're just going to wait for a moment here for the bed to get hauled up here. How are we doing on the on the shaft up here. Oh, look at that. They got that part done already. Okay, so we are going to need to mine out this little spot here just so they can get at that. And then we are also going to want to build... let's see, that's going to build Shift-C wall. We're just going to build a wall right here. Out of gabbro, that's fine. We'll make a rock wall. Okay. And then the other thing that we can do then is set up a channel. We channel down here. Right there. Well, we want channel, which is H. Let me think here. No, I'm putting that in the wrong level. I need to put it up here. So we're doing channel right there, and then that should open up our little trough thing, which will let the water flow. I might end up needing to go down one more level on channel. I don't exactly remember what I need to do there, but we'll get that taken care of in a moment. Okay, what do we got going on with this trade depot? We still need some masonry, so let's see. Just real quick, I want to check the craft dwarf shop and see, did he finish? Yes, we did finish the nest boxes. So I'm going to go in and turn off, loading up the dwarves here, turn off the stone crafting for our woodcutter and turn on the masonry for him. And hopefully he'll go get that job set up. And while I'm thinking about it, I also need to build my little bridge here to wall off my entrance. I never actually did that. So I'm going to build Shift-C. Oh, no, it's G, actually. I'm going to build G. We're going to go 3 by 3 right there. And then we need to set the raise direction of this because we don't want it to retract. We want it to raise so that it blocks the hole. So we're going to use the, I believe it's the S key, yes, to get it to raise to the east. Now this one does take 3 items. We'll just use the logs. That's fine. It needs architecture. Do I have anyone with architecture? I believe I turned architecture on for someone. Yes, we have architecture on for our farmer. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so that stuff will get built. Let's see, one other thing we need to do here is place our nest boxes. So we have 5 chickens. So we're just going to place, let's see, 1. Did I only queue up? I must have only queued up 3 of those. Oh, I'm going to have to go make 2 more. That was silly of me. Nest box. There we go. There's 5. Now, and it might be that they've already been built and we're just waiting on them to be hauled out. Okay, looks like some of our tables have been placed. Excellent. So we can use Q and then pick one of the tables and turn this into a dining room. Again, we're going to set that as the full size. We're also going to make this a meeting hall, so the dwarves will kind of congregate here. And then what we're going to need to do is build a lever right here. And we're just going to put it in the center of the room. Right here. We'll use the gyro mechanisms, that's fine. Looks like our mechanic has actually finished making all his mechanisms, which means he is moving faster than I am. That's a shame. Okay, so to that end, also since I believe this thing is... Well, I guess he's still building beds and barrels and stuff, but we're also going to add wooden cage as a repeating item because we are going to be doing lots and lots and lots of cage traps. Okay, so you saw there, I didn't do that suspension of that wooden barrel there. The game recognized that we had enough barrels and then stopped making them. So we're good to go there. All right, going back upstairs, looks like our Our channel has been dug and our water is filling up. That's excellent. So we are going to want to dig out our hole here for our wow, brain fart, for our well. So we are going to designate, we're going to channel, we're going to do it right in the middle of this room. Just like that. And then we're also going to want to build, is it Shift W? Wall grate, no. Okay, I'm going to have to look. L. Okay, L needs blocks. Okay, fortunately we do have a mason and a mason's workshop, so we can queue those up. So we're going to just add a task, we're going to add block, and then we're going to promote that task. So you hit P, and that just shifts it up. So he will prioritize the highest thing in the order there. It only said that we need blocks, so that means that we have everything else that we would need to put this together. And I actually want to put in a grate also, a floor grate, which so I'm just going to turn planning mode on for that and place it there. I believe I can do that. And then build the well over that. Is that correct? Hang on here, we might have a bit of an issue. Yeah, I might not actually be able to put the grate there, which is not that great, actually. Pun intended. Okay, so we're just gonna remove that. And then we're gonna go in and... Oh, okay, it is now summer. So we can expect our first wave of migrants to be showing up any moment now. First wave usually hits in the summer sometime. The merchants will be showing up probably let's see here. Probably they're going to show up in autumn, and they're probably going to be 1 or 2 months later than you would normally see them. But that's fine. And once again, it does look like the game is frozen, but that's normal for the season change. It does take it a little while to save everything, and then it's going to pause when it's done if you have that setting flipped in the lazy noob pack, so you don't have to worry about losing any time or anything. Okay. As far as, like, if you decide to go get a sandwich or something. Okay, so I'm just placing the last 2 nest boxes. And it looks like the hens have claimed these, so it's great. So we are going to actually go into our kitchen here, which you can get into through Z for stocks. We're going to go into kitchen. We're going to go over to... I believe it is under meat, fish, other. We're going to find the chicken eggs, hen eggs. And it looks like we have 40 of those. Wow. Okay, we're going to turn off cook on those. This is just temporary. In order to... It can't be right. 40 eggs? Huh. They must have been going to town. In order to grow some more baby chickens. So the idea is we're just going to have those hens laying all the time. We're going to grow our chickens, and then we're going to hatch those, and then we're going to be slaughtering them for meat. Tasty, tasty chicken meat. So we're going to go to this stockpile here that is our food stockpile. We're going to go to food, and we're going to forbid... Actually, we'll allow all eggs and then block specifically hen eggs. Hen. So we're going to toggle hen egg off. That way the dwarves will stop grabbing all the eggs from the hens. And while we're right here, let's just give them a door. Entirely not necessary, but I like having it there. Okay, now we're going to build a, well, still needs blocks. We're just going to go down here and have a look at our mason here and see. Okay, looks like he has finished the blocks. Or the block. Hopefully we'll only need one. We want to build a well. There we go. Okay, excellent. Okay, now is our bridge finished? Designed needs carpentry. So we're still waiting on our carpenter to have a free moment to come and check this thing out. Looks like we've actually run out of space in our stockpile, which is a little disconcerting, but that does mean that it might be a good idea to start working on planning out what we're doing with our workshops. So what I'm going to do, let's go down here. We got to think about what workshops we have, what workshops we're going to need immediately. Sorry about that. So right now we are working on wood and stone crafting. So let's see, and I'm actually going to pause the game so that I don't run over. I'm just gonna kind of think out loud. We're probably gonna not start building until the next episode. So we're gonna be using layout here. Yeah, anyway, there's a bunch of different methods that we could use, but we're gonna have to keep stones and probably gems near to each other. I have to figure out how to lay that out. Well, essentially what I want to do is set up like a loop, probably with this down in the bottom corner. We're going to have a 3x3 hallway and then just a big loop like this with all of our industries set up around there. Or I could just do like a loop with paths leading to the staircase. That's probably better so the doors don't have to travel as far to get to things. So we're going to set up kind of our meat industry up here. We're going to move the animals down here. We're going to have a little section for, eventually I want to have a little section for soap, a little section for food processing, which is going to be like our brewery and our kitchen and our ingredients stockpiles. One for metal with ore stockpiles and bar stockpiles and a smelter and a forge. One for our farms, so we're going to have storage for barrels and bags, farmers' workshops, seeds, fertilizers, farm. One for cloth, so we're going to have a weaver, a dyer, and a clothier, along with thread, dye, and cloth stockpiles. And then a wood industry with a carpenter's workshop, wood burning furnace, ash stockpile for logs, and then right next to that I'm going to have to put the stone crafting stuff. So the mason workshop, the craftsdwarf workshop, a pile for stones, specifically for the stones that don't have ores and whatnot in them. So it's probably going to take a little bit of management to set up, but once it's set up, I want to have very specific stockpiles to throw everything in, so that none of the dwarves have to move very far to get to their stuff, and then we'll just have a team of dwarves whose job is to move things around. And we can kind of slowly add to this as we gain access to different industries, based on the resources and whatnot that we come across. So it'll definitely be an ongoing project. But I'm actually looking at the time here and seeing that I'm running up on 35 minutes. So we're going to stop the recording here, and I'm going to continue next episode with planning out, getting a good plan of how to set up the workshop area, and get all those stockpiles laid out. So I'm going to play around with some ideas off screen for that and see what we can come up with. So till next time.